Alright, welcome back to the Acer Team Story Cup. Folks, I'm Rifkin, joined today by Doom Esports. And of course, this is game number 4. Currently 2-1 is the score, and our player in the lower right corner of the map, playing for Axiom, spawning blue, it is, of course, Alicia.
And in the northwest corner of the map, in the red trunks, for Mouz Sports, oh yeah, Protoss player. Remember, he is officially the player who has competed in the longest StarCraft 2 game in history. None other than MaNa.
And MaNa, in case you watch these VODs, it's going to kill me not to say Mouz Esports entire game just to troll you, but for the sake of professionalism and the Acer Team Story Cup, I'll try and keep it together.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want a rabid MaNa coming into the channel saying, "You said Mouz Esports in the cast." Ah! But I'm always willing to adjust on the fly. And both these players are gonna have to adjust on the fly in PvP, man.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting matchup. Lately, we've had the pleasure of seeing a lot of late game PvPs, not just in like WCS, but for like a lot of the smaller tournaments too. PvP is kind of getting to that point now where players have figured it out enough that they can stay alive and get to that late game period where you've got Colossus, you got Immortals, you got Archons. It doesn't feel like we really get those 4-gate, blink all-ins anymore, but they still happen. They're still viable. Same with Dark Templar. But more often than not, we're seeing a lot more macro play, which makes Protoss versus Protoss a lot more interesting to watch.
It was a really wild game that I saw between Sauce and Hero that revolved around Stargate play, which was curious for me because it all depended on how many Phoenix you made, and if you made another Stargate to make additional Phoenix, or if you try to transition out of it and defend with Stalkers. Once you get to certain points with Phoenix, it's just impossible to try to deflect them. They're like bugs on the beach. They are just gonna get to you no matter what. But we'll see if that's what it relegates to. I'm not really sure what happens on Belshire Vestige in terms of PvP typically, but maybe these players are feeling inspired from the global finals that they saw over the course of the weekend.
Man, side note, MaNa being so abusive with this probe. You see him he's looking for a fight with everybody. He's not tagging one probe. He's tagging like every single probe he can. Just constant alerts, probably like, your units are under attack. Your units are under attack. Meanwhile,
just goes to show the professional nature of his playstyle. It's a mark of a Gosu when you can do this and do everything back at your base at the same time.
Well, it's really important, of course, is these probes sticking around long enough to see the third pylon go down for each of their bases. I mean, MaNa sees the third pylon go down behind the mineral line. Alicia does the same thing. If there's no third pylon, it's a little bit curious as to what's going on. Or actually, no, yeah, there's a third pylon. Sorry, I'm ridiculous. Anyways,
yep.
It's really important because if there's only 2 pylons in base, 9 times out of 10 there's a proxy somewhere on the map, and you need to go scout that immediately to find out what's coming. But luckily both players see this pretty standard so far. We got a Twilight Council coming out of Alicia, will most likely be for Blank. I really strongly feel there's a lot of people who disagree with this, and I will show you the VODs that say otherwise, but I really feel like players with good Blink control, they beat robo openings. I mean, you shouldn't because Immortals are so good, but man, Blink is just such a big deal. And you don't have to necessarily use it to attack and play. You can actually use it to sort of soft contain, harass at the natural, and just abuse it,
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, but it looks like it's going to be actually Dark Shrine opener here from Alicia. So, been seeing some variations on this to try to get the expansion down a little bit more easily, and gearing up towards the macro game. And Alicia's actually going to be dropping down a robo in addition to this, but MaNa is dropping down his own robo on the other side of the field. And with the additional units that he's getting from getting his gateway earlier, maybe this will come into play here and trying to see where Alicia's taking the game from this point.
Well, what's really nice too is the Dark Templar, they got the risk of winning the game, right? Like if you can get lucky. But even if they don't, Archons are never bad to have. They break force fields, they allow you to push out, they soak a lot of damage. So,
oh man, Alicia's got this probe on the other side of the field too, Riff. So it's gonna have a good proxy pylon position to maybe catch MaNa off guard.
I don't think he will. He's got a sentry at the top of the ramp. He's waiting for the timing on this. And MaNa gonna poke in, forces an overcharge. Won't see the Twilight Council or the Templar or the Dark Shrine Sally, but Mothership Core goes down, and that stops the recall. So MaNa suddenly gonna lose not only the Mothership Core, but another Stalker underneath this. And in
Rift
any
is gonna
other
be devastating because there's a pylon in MaNa's base now that's being built, and the DT Shrine is about to be finished.
Oh, and he can't actually force field this out of the main anymore. If these Dark Templar warp right in, of course, an Observer coming out first for MaNa, so not the scariest thing in the world, but still a potential. Oh, those Dark Templar going down on top, or going on top of the Sentry, picks it off immediately, but there's the Observer. You can start trying to kite this, but a Zealot doesn't trade with the Dark Templar. Neither does a Stalker really effectively. So These two units going to split up, go left and right, but no detection here on the low ground as sadly the probe's going to get picked off.
And now Alicia's actually pressuring into MaNa's expansion, so this might not stay up that long. And while Alicia's doing this, he's taking his own expansion back at home, so trying to force a cancel out. Not sure if it's going to happen, though.
This would never have happened if that Mothership Core got that recall off to him. If that pylon wouldn't have been made, he would have shut it down. He wouldn't have even taken any losses, much less that sentry. So MaNa, a bit of a slip here in the early game, but he recovers quite nicely. He was on his butt, so to speak, but stood up. I don't know. Not a good analogy. Point is, he's still alive.
True. And MaNa's going to have his expansion up earlier, so I mean, I like his position here. He's got the first Immortal lead as well. Well, actually, you know, take that back here because Alicia has his own Immortal, but building his second a little bit quicker and chrono boosting that out. So maybe Alicia's going to, or maybe MaNa's going to be going a little more aggressive here, and I can't blame him for having that mindset because I think he can actually take advantage of this small window and having a greater supply.
Dark Temple get clean up the proxy pylon and MaNa had set up. So both players have had their presence on the opposite side of the field stripped away, but again, MaNa's, I don't know, this small probe lead. You got the Nexus down a little bit earlier. He's not exactly rocketing ahead in economy, but he's got that small little advantage going for him. But I think maybe he's a little afraid that he's further behind than he is, because this push out seems very unnecessary to me. He's going to get to the base, he's going to see that there's no damage to be done, and probably have to walk home, but because his army's out of position, this Dark Templar could possibly just mosey on back in here and start killing probes.
I think the push out would have been better if that pylon on the other side of the field didn't just supply block MaNa. He could have more units out in the field here, and as a result, Alicia's pretty much caught up in terms of the critical units that he needs. He's got 2 Immortals, which are going to match MaNa's, but, you know, this is going to be a very interesting fight here, and is there actually a Photon Overcharge available?
Oh, those force fields! Those force fields are so good out of MaNa! Locks out the army one more time, the Immortals can't even get involved in the fight, so it's a little too late. Gonna knock down his Nexus, and if he recalls out of here... Doom, if he recalls out of here, MaNa's gonna make up that difference from earlier.
He's gonna.
Oh, and he's gonna keep the Immortal alive! So well played out of MaNa! Such a beautiful and brilliant base snipe. It cost him a lot, but it was absolutely worthwhile.
Back at home, still adding on a couple of gateway units here. The DT never snuck its way back in to do any damage as far as I can tell.
No, it didn't. It stayed in the middle of the map.
I mean, no blink has been researched from Alicia, so really doesn't have that much advantage off of that Twilight Council tech. Is going to be adding on a robotics to the back to space, but it feels like this is almost like do or die here in this situation.
It really is. Losing that Nexus was devastating. He has to cause an equal amount of damage. You know, it's kind of like laws of relativity and all that stuff. Like an equal and opposite reaction needs to be applied here from force from Alicia, because MaNa is just going to... I said it before, he wasn't skyrocketing ahead in economy. He's absolutely going to pull ahead in economy, especially with his natural money as long as it has. But Alicia doesn't really have enough to do the damage that MaNa did. MaNa certainly won't be caught off by those force fields. Not the same way Alicia was. His army's poised in front of the Nexus to make sure that that won't happen. And all Alicia can do is clean up pylons for the time being. And this really sucks for him. This is not a good position to be in whatsoever. Both players supply blocked awkwardly, just side note.
Yeah, the one advantage that Alicia has going for him right now is the fact that +1 just finished up. The Zealot is trying to chase around 4 mana in the mineral line there of Alicia, but... gonna be taken out, sent back to R. And back at home here, Templar Archive is gonna be the choice for MaNa, so not going for that Colossus tech. Meanwhile, Alicia's building his first Colossus. No thermal lamps being researched though.
Yeah, this, okay, so this is where it gets a little bit awkward, right? Like, when you have a Colossus in your army, you know you're going to beat the opponent's Zealot's force, but if the Zealot force isn't the true threat, if they've got, say, Archons and Immortals, you're going to tear through that Colossus like it's nothing, but MaNa's going to get in here with this Phoenix, and he's got to scout this. He needs to see that the Robo Bay's down. And he knows that. He sees the Colossus even, too. Meanwhile, Phoenix also scouting for Alicia, but Alicia's going to see a lot less than MaNa just did.
This might be Alicia's opportunity. Maybe taking this observer out in the middle of the map. I think it's going to go down.
Yep. Denies the vision. They're pretty hardcore. So MaNa's got to be a little bit scared right now. He's got a couple Archons, but that's it. That's not a lot. He's got Charge on the way, but that's not going to be finished for this fight. The Immortals, again, if they connect to this Colossus, if there's no Thermal Lance, it's only 6 range. So the Immortals can connect to it pretty easily with their 6 range as well. But it's the Zealots that'll be, you know, blocking this off. The force fields are going to need to be perfect, and Alicia is going to have to contend against a Photon Overcharge here, but I don't know if that'll be enough to. 1 Archon, will it be enough? He can break the force fields if he needs to, but force fields go down left and right for both players. The Colossus is getting focused down perhaps a little bit too late. Those Zealots are not going to do any damage if another force field goes down. Oh, the Colossus does not escape, but there's nothing left for MaNa. The Zealots are going to push in here. The Photon Overcharge is all he really has to rely on. The one single Archon is trying to kite. We actually have probes being pulled to try and help with this, but those Immortals are looking really scary. Probes need to be pulled and focus on those Immortals ASAP. There's actually a Dark Templar here, so this is a lot of damage going down, and MaNa loses his natural base.
Be able to break some force fields with the Archons, make an additional Archon as well, trying to do as much as he can with the probes to micro here, but back at home, Alicia has been untouched. His natural is mining to the fullest here. 76 supply overall for Alicia, 35 for MaNa. It is looking grim in this stage of the game here, as the second Colossus is going to join the fray.
MaNa went from being so far ahead to down in an instant. Alicia will take this, bringing Axiom up 3-1 at this point. This really puts Mouz in a tough spot.
Does, you know, they control their destiny here, but so does Axiom in this position. So doing what they can to push forward here. You know, Mouse Sports kind of on the ropes. You think it's time to bring Vortex out, Rifkin? I think they got no other choice, really.
You know what? You've been good at calling so far to him, so I'll just continue going with it. I lay down my player calls to you, and I wish you to be right, but
I think you got to do it because it's a best of 9, right? And Alicia's up 3-2. You get one wild card, so you got to see who does the best out of all your players. And if it's gonna be the guy who's doing last for you, well, then you just want to ride that momentum to try to take the victory. But I don't know who's gonna be able to stop Alicia right now. He's looking beastly from the Korean server over there.
He really is. But guys, with that, I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for watching our ads, and even if you're not watching our ads, I just want to again thank you for tuning in because we got almost 2K people on stream. Ugh, I'm getting all the nerd chills right now. But with that being said, we're gonna hop out of some ads, and we'll see you guys in just a moment for the Wacky Wild and Full Arms game number 5.